Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to Broken Sword 2, The Smoking Mirror. We need to go through this conversation, then adjust the audio a little bit and try to get it more balanced.
What do you suppose the carving on the stone means?
I don't know. I haven't shown it to anyone.
Why don't you just give it to me?
I don't want your death on my conscience, George.
See, George's audio seems all in the left channel, which effectively makes it half as loud because there's nothing in the right channel as far as left and right audio. And this seems weird. We had audio problems with the first game's director cut too, which is weird because I don't think I really had problems when I played either one of these games in their original forms using ScumVM.
Where did Nico get the stone?
I'm not sure I should tell you.
Oh, you should.
It was something to do with smuggling.
We got a reveal at the beginning of the story that the reason why George left Nicole pretty much after the first game for 6 months is because his father was dying, which then changes the story a little bit when you think about the director's cut and the fact that Nicole was very close to her own father in the director's cut, even though her father was not even a character in the first game originally. So if Nicole does come up in this story and complain about the fact that you left her alone because George left her alone because his father was dying, that's going to make less sense now because the original game has been changed. All events past the original game now are in at least a slightly different light. Let's ask about the professor.
Why didn't Nico take the stone to Ubier?
I don't know. Perhaps she suspected something like this would happen.
If she's been hurt, Andre, I'll break every bone in your body.
No, that's typical of you. Do you think I don't care what happens to Nicole?
It occurred to me that slugs don't have bones to break, but I kept that thought to myself.
See, he seems a little angry and a little upset with Andre more than he should be. Andre is a Frenchman in general. Flirting is, from what, as I understand it, kind of a national pastime. Even if Nicole is in a serious relationship, and she probably is with George, it probably wouldn't be uncommon for other French people to be a little bit more romantically loose with their words, at least. And so that's something George would have to just learn to get used to.
Tell me about your friend Ubier.
He's more of a
I really don't
professional
think he's
acquaintance
a
than friend.
I see.
real
So you
competitor
don't
for
really know
her
him at all.
affections.
No, I don't.
Let's ask about the guy that kidnapped him.
Does Ubier employ a guy from Central America?
Maybe. I don't know.
Let's show
What
him
can you
the
tell me
pot.
about this pot?
South or Central American, I'd say. I have a friend who'd be able to tell you more.
Let's
Where
see.
can I find this guy?
He owns a gallery on the left bank. The Glees Gallery.
And then let's ask about this.
Take a look at this, Andre.
It's a bank statement.
Yeah, Professor Ubier's account. 5 large cash withdrawals in the space of 3 days. All from an automatic teller in Marseille. Suspicious, isn't it?
You're even more crazy than you were before. See you later. Goodbye, Georgie.
So did we actually get any information that was helpful? Just the Glees gallery.
I've had enough of your games, Collard. Tell me what you've done with my stone.
I thought your business was simply smuggling cocaine, Karzak. Why are you so interested in that stone?
Either you tell me what I want to know, or Pablo here will make you talk.
Okay. Well, I figured someone at the university would be able to help. So I had a word with one of my girlfriends, and she told me her boyfriend was a lecturer. I sent the stone to the Department of Ethnology. You know, I figured it was South American, so... You're not buying this, are you?
That's enough. I don't have time to listen to your mindless prattle. We'll leave you to think it over. Come the morning, you'll be ready to talk.
So I don't know what that scene actually helped to this for the story, really. Let's start with the audio. So speech, let's move it back up here. And music, let's move it down here. And then let's go back here. And I guess we can go ahead and save the game while we're here. You don't type any names or anything. Let's talk to this guy. We've got some new things to talk to him about.
Do you miss being a gendarme?
Yes, of course I do. When I wore that uniform, I commanded respect. Not anymore.
See, he's not looking. Let's take the flask while he's not looking.
I grabbed the flask and was struck by a powerful smell of absinthe, a highly potent and illegal alcoholic drink.
Alright. Let's try the audio even a little bit louder. And then the music a little bit quieter. I mean, look at how far I'm going down that music thing. I'm almost down to the point where, like, one tick might be enough. I'll go a couple ticks more. Try this
Excuse
again.
me.
What?
Ever heard of Carol Climax, the movie star?
Yes, but I don't care for the kind of movie she's made. It's smut like that which has caused the moral decline of the Western world.
So if her name is Carol Climax, it's spelled differently, but it's pronounced like a porn star's name.
Is it true that Carol Climax was murdered by her husband?
First I heard of it. I thought she just retired.
So, interesting
Didn't you try to appeal against your dismissal?
joke. We've had 2 dirty jokes already.
There was no point. It was my word against that of the chief inspector. And he was a close friend of the director of the museum I was supposed to be patrolling.
Oh, so because we robbed the museum, we specifically caused this guy to lose his job.
Excuse me.
Leave me alone.
It keeps knocking me out of the conversation, interestingly enough. And I can't take the coffee. And I suppose we are now ready to move to a new area.
Now I had another lead. I could either go back to Ubier's house or visit the Glee's gallery.
And it's asking me to check. I think I'll turn the audio.
The Glee's gallery had style
little
and
bit.
class, but very few customers.
It seems it's going to be difficult to get this right. But it's probably a little too loud. Yeah. So we have a Mayan pot, we have some girls, and we have a man, and maybe if we walk over here, there's even more to do. Doesn't actually look like there might be a puzzle or anything here. We have another man to talk to. We have a credit card machine. And back here, we have a packing case. I guess...
Excuse me, sir.
Uh-huh.
That area is private.
Oh, so I'm not allowed back here?
No, sir.
So, I would just be freaking out right now if my girlfriend had been kidnapped in front of me. I'd be going to the police.
Spheres in a barren waste.
I would
Oh, very profound.
probably be running around with like a chicken with my head cut off. It doesn't seem like he's really even that upset. I'd be at her apartment looking at like any paperwork or research she's been doing, because we know she was researching a story and that might give us a clue.
Rectangles in a desolate landscape. Highly cubist. I could see a pattern emerging in this artist's work.
So, since this game's so small, at such a low resolution, it's not a terribly low resolution, but these type of paintings would have been the only thing that would have even been visible on
The Wasteland. Too minimalistic for too much money.
on screens of the day and age when this game originally came out. But you are getting pretty good resolution, but you can definitely tell there's a lot of jagginess on these lines as they decide each pixel for every single animation, whether it's going to be background or part of the sprite. Even here you see thick black line with a lot of jagginess. You would turn on anti-aliasing these days to make these things smooth, but you can't really anti-alias things like this very easily. Well, maybe you could. It depends on what the original picture's at. Let's talk to these girls since they're probably the least important characters first.
Hi, girls.
You could try to do it, but it would get smooth and look bad. There may have been some anti-aliasing here.
What's the joke?
あなたはキレてですね。
Okay, fine.
So they don't speak English? Let's talk to them again and see what they say. They'll probably just laugh at me again.
If I wanted to be laughed at, there was always Nico.
Man, there's some long load times on some of these responses. That's unacceptable. It should be snappy and
The
quick.
pots were protected by a glass case.
And there's nothing up here. And then we've got the menu in every single corner. I would have preferred they just given us a black bar at the bottom. That's easier to ignore. Or you could have gone like the Sam and Max Telltale games where all the settings were at the top and hidden by default. Or they could have been all at the bottom, or they could have been even on one side, although that's usually a little bit odder. So maybe I need to absinthe this man so he falls over. Let's talk to him first. He's drinking wine.
Are you Mr. Glees, the owner?
Good God, no.
Then I guess that must be him over there, right?
Your powers of deductive reasoning astound me.
Let's talk to him about the professor. Like, why in the world would he know the professor?
Have you heard of Professor Ubier?
Yes, of course.
I was at his house
I
earlier.
guess he does.
If you're going to drop names, you could at least name one worth dropping.
I thought Ubier was a well-respected man.
Why, his last book was nothing but pseudo-intellectual claptrap. The demented ramblings of a drug-dependent has-been.
So he's drug dependent. Has been.
What's that you're drinking?
I'm not sure, but I have a suspicion it might be urine. Glees can't expect a favorable criticism of his gallery when he serves this muck.
Interesting. They do sometimes serve wine at galleries. It's kind of weird.
Would you give me your opinion on this pot, sir?
Yes. Very rapouche.
Rapouche?
Hideous.
What does rapouche mean? Oh, he just dropped
What the hell
it.
do you think you're doing? You smashed my pot.
Certainly, it was not only worthless, it was ugly and offensive.
To you, maybe.
Believe me, I was doing you a favor.
I wasn't going to waste any more
Wow.
breath talking to that pompous blimp. Maybe I could turn the situation to my advantage, and at the same time, get my revenge.
Maybe I could get the guy kicked out, but let's go with my idea first of using the flask on the glass. So you just got a pixel hunt here. The top is helping me, I suppose, a little bit by telling me what I'm
I
hovering
splashed a little absinthe into the glass and hoped he wouldn't notice the change of color.
over. Absinthe is very
Did you put something
pure
in my
alcohol.
drink?
Yeah, I did. What do you think?
Well, it's certainly an improvement over Gleese's wine. In fact, I could grow to like it.
And just confess it. Let's pick
The
up
pot
the
had
smash
smashed
ball.
into too many pieces to retrieve.
So now he's gonna smell of alcohol, at the very least, and wobble back and forth. So maybe I can get him kicked out, and that might keep Gleese busy so I can run over here to the credit card machine and look in the background, too. So I think I've created a diversion.
I'd like to ask you a few questions, if you don't mind.
Certainly, sir. I'd be most happy to oblige.
You're English?
These days, one prefers to think of oneself as European.
Sure. Whatever you say.
And how precisely may one assist you, sir?
Ironically, as of this recording, that's not really the case anymore. Let's continue asking questions.
What I really wanted to ask you about was a black stone.
A black stone?
Yeah, it's a Mayan artifact, about as big as my hand.
No, sir, one doesn't get much call for black stones. If it's Mayan artifacts you're interested in, I have some rather exquisite pots.
So did I, until that slob smashed it. Have you heard of Professor Ubier?
Of course. His name is synonymous with Mayan art. A number of these artifacts were supplied by Ubier himself.
So Ubier was smuggling.
Do you believe the story that Ubier murdered his wife?
If it was true, who can blame him? She was an opportunist tramp. Well, that's what I heard.
Wow, what a response.
Have you seen any of Ubier's wife's films?
Only one. Believe me, I was appalled, shocked, disgusted, and repulsed.
Well, you sure got your money's worth. Last time I went to the movies, I wasn't even titillated.
Let's ask about this
Do
guy.
you get many Central American Indians in here?
No, sir. This is Paris. Central America is several thousand kilometers southwest of here. Straight across the Atlantic Ocean and turn left. You can't miss it.
Well, as it happens, I saw some Central American Indians this very morning.
Tourists, sir. Paris is full of them at this time of year.
What's weird is they're using kilometers now, and I think in at least a few places in the first game they used miles. There was definitely an attempt, according to the developers' commentary in the first game, that they wanted Broken Sword to be very popular in the Western world more than, even though they're a European company, and now it seems like they've more embraced their own Europeanness of this game, particularly since that first game mostly was in Paris and almost all of it was in some part of Europe. Let's ask about this.
I found this news story referring to a total eclipse of the sun.
Really, sir? Well, fascinating.
I like the idea that most of the story actually takes place in different countries. It would be really boring to set archaeological adventures in the United States or some Western country. You can do Central America because they have that Mayan history, but Native American history doesn't have those stories of hidden temples and secret treasures or anything like that. So you end up doing something like the National Treasure movies, where the oldest thing that you can even steal is something that's only a couple hundred years old, like the Constitution, versus if you look for some ancient treasure in Europe, you can go thousands of years back. Let's ask about wine.
There is a gentleman over there who seems to be enjoying your wine.
I can't think why. It was very cheap.
Let's ask about the pots.
I suppose you have an import license for these relics?
Of course. But that's not my problem, sir. The professor arranges all the shipping. We simply collect the items from the docks.
Let's ask about the professor again.
Could you tell me which docks Professor Ubier uses to import the artifacts?
Good God, no. I can't possibly reveal my commercial secrets.
Interesting. And so that solves that, but unless I have something more to do, maybe I just give the absinthe to the guy. Maybe I need to get him a little bit more smashed.
I didn't think he'd be interested.
And picking up the smash pots.
I had no possible use for a credit card reader.
Really? You don't think that maybe checking this against that would tell you if he was... Well, maybe I do need a credit card. So maybe we talk to the man again, see if there's something new to say.
I'd had enough of talking to that slob.
And see, it just takes forever to get to this point.
The pots were protected by a glass case. I couldn't believe it. The pots were marked at 5,000 francs each.
So I've got to do something with some item. It's not going to be use the poison dart on the Mayan pots. Maybe use the poison dart on this guy. Make him fall asleep.
I didn't think he'd be interested.
Let's see. Use the poison dart on Glees.
I didn't think he'd be interested in that.
Wow, that's taking forever.
I have some questions I'd like to ask about those pots.
The Mexican collection? Certainly, sir.
Where did you get them from?
Mexico, of course. I think sir will find the price extremely reasonable.
Hey, I'm not interested in buying them.
Oh, I see. In that case, you'll excuse me.
Wow. So I have no other clue unless I'm supposed to just... Unless this is going to let me go to the docks. Which it's not. It's just going to let me go to the cafe and the house. And I'm noticing there's no map here. I need to find out what Glees gets his artifacts, but he won't tell me. And we're 13% done with the game already, according to the indicator. Let's look at the credit card machine.
It was a machine for reading credit cards.
Let's look at this.
It was a sturdy packing case.
Let's click on this and see if we can read it quickly.
Excuse me, there really is nothing to see back there.
Okay, I get the message.
It's rather a mess, sir.
And the gallery only stops me from examining these crates. How can I get back there? And see, now we're at 15%. The story is just moving it forward. And we're already to page 4. Well, already to page 5 of this. Interesting. It seems like only one page per piece of information. Let's talk to the guy, I guess, one more time. See if we can...
There was nothing else I wanted to ask the man.
Let's give the underwear to the girls. They're all gonna laugh at me. Why not?
If I wanted to be laughed at, there was always Nico.
And this note and this key.
I didn't think he'd be in. The pot had smashed into too many pieces to retrieve.
And we have the
A
smash pot.
valuable relic of an ancient civilization lay smashed on the floor.
And I don't want to talk to this guy.
What's the difference between my pot and all those other pots?
Yours is broken.
Why, you smug, pompous sloth.
Sticks and stones, dear boy, sticks and stones.
I'd had enough of talking to that slob. He was a pear-shaped guy with a fine display of multiple chins.
See, and there's just some weirdness here because unless there's a control that they're not explaining, besides left click and right click, there's... seems just rather strange. I could ask him about the news cutting.
I didn't think he'd be interested.
There's nothing to do with the
Rectangles
pictures.
in a desolate landscape. Highly cubist.
So that's left clicking it. We'll do it.
Rectangles in a
And
desolate
it's the same
landscape.
thing with right clicking it.
Highly cubist.
And I can't talk to this guy. And see, it's taking forever.
There was nothing else I wanted to ask the man.
It takes forever to test everything. It feels like there's an engine built on this that is just really inefficient. What if we did this and this?
I wasn't convinced that was the right thing to do.
What if we did this and this?
No, that's wrong.
What if we did this and this?
Nope.
This and this?
That isn't it at all.
This and this?
No, that's wrong. I don't think so.
Yeah. It doesn't seem like any of these items would work with anybody else. Maybe give him some absinthe?
I didn't think he'd be interested in that.
So, maybe I need to go back to other places. I want to do a little bit more and before I decide to just ask for a hint. But almost certainly an hour into playing this game, really. I'm 15% done and I'm ready for a hint. And in the original game you wouldn't have gotten a hint, and this is how old point-and-click adventure games used to make their money's worth, because you would just be lost. There was no internet in the time really to go find the solution, so you just have to keep trying and trying to think up new ideas, or possibly a magazine would tell you the solution and give you a walkthrough, or there'd be a guide you could find, or a friend who would tell you something. But thank goodness games now have hints, but this is a difficult process. I have no idea what I'm doing wrong. Let's go and save the game. We'll use all the time slots, and that's gonna be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to support me further, go to my main YouTube page. On the right is a button that says support this channel. Click it, make a donation. And if you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.